sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
100 years old. We Kiwanis share a special bond, working for the welfare of children here and children all over the world. We, the Schenectady Kiwanis Club, are special. We ask you to continue to guide us toward our 100th year in 2019. And bless those who could not join us today, and those who have prepared this food we are about to partake. Amen.
Amen.
Kiwanis song.
Kiwanis, Kiwanis, good people meet today. Kiwanis, Kiwanis, drive all our cares away.
Oh, please.
Kiwanis, Kiwanis, yours is the spirit free.
Oh, free.
Kiwanis, drive all our gloom in the deep blue sea.
Mayor McCarthy gave us an official proclamation for today, Assemblyman Steck's office. So we do have somebody from our state legislature.
And the 100th year of the national, right?
Yes.
Right.
And yours is, what, 96?
We celebrated our 95th anniversary in 2014, and it'll be our 96th birthday this year, in May.
All right, that's pretty exciting. And when you do your 100th, we'll have to do like a joint proclamation and everybody come up to Albany and do something on the floor. I'll put this up here, but just basically it talks about your things that you guys do and how exciting it is to be part of a 100th anniversary. So
It is. Thank you for
Thank
that.
Thank you for having me here. I am Larry Spring. I usually begin all of my speeches this way. I'm Larry Spring, Superintendent of the Schenectady Schools, and my vision is to ensure that race, economics, and disability no longer serve as predictors for student achievement. That's one of the things that I found when I came on board, is that those three variables are a pretty reliable way for us to predict which kids are going to drop out of school, which kids are going to graduate, those kinds of things. And we've started to tackle them head on. Since I spoke to you last time, we have started a significant race equity issue, or a race equity campaign in the district. We have an equity and excellence committee, staffed mostly by community advocates. We have some internal staff on it, but we take a look at things like discipline, achievement, advanced course enrollment, those kinds of things, and they produce a report card for the district. And that gets presented to the Board of Ed, and they talk about, here's some things that we think we should do better. We've reduced, since I've been here, we've dramatically reduced our dropout rate. When I first came here, that first opening day with staff, I roped off about 145 seats in the middle of Proctor's, and partway through my presentation, I let the staff know why no one was allowed to sit in those seats. It was the number of kids that walked out of school and never looked back every year. 145 kids who just drop out, not going to another program, no other thing in place for them. We've got that number down below 50 now.
Wonderful.
Pretty significant things. I think one of the major things that folks worry about when they think about the Schenectady schools and its reputation and these kinds of things, they worry about school safety, bullying and those kinds of things. We've worked really hard on school climate. We still have issues in the schools. I think in any high school, any middle school, those kinds of things, they exist, they happen, but I think we've got a much better way of dealing with them. We try to be very transparent and upfront with parents and the public. We report to the board after every report card period, right? So we do these 4 quarterly reports. We report not only on how the kids do academically, but we make sure that discipline is a part of that report, so we can see what's happening with our suspensions and those kinds of things. And the schools have gotten systematically safer, right? It just is one of those things, when you begin to put sunshine on things, things get to be a little bit better. One of my favorite sayings is sunshine is the best disinfectant. And so when you peel back that layer and say, we're going to be public about what's going on, to take a look at it, we start to address it a little bit more aggressively, and we start to get at it a little bit more effectively. And we've done that. In fact, just last week, we had the swearing-in ceremony for Judge Siknewski at the high school. It was a great ceremony. It's wonderful. It's the first time I'd ever seen something like that. It was the first time, I guess, that had ever been done at a school. And so it was fabulous all the way around. But we had 15 judges in our high school. And we staged them in a room down a ways from the auditorium. And then they had to walk through the hallway during lunch. So there were kids milling around in the high school. And they had to walk past and through all of these high school kids, at lunch to get into the auditorium, and then when it was over, back through the same kind of thing. And they all had the same reaction. They were all struck by the same thing. How fabulous it felt in the high school. And they wanted to stop and make sure that I knew that they were impressed with the kids in Schenectady. They were impressed with how quiet, how respectful the kids were. How nice that felt. Even though they were at lunch, it was unstructured time. As they walked through the hallway, they were struck by, this feels like an academic place. This feels safe. This feels great. That's a fantastic thing. And so I take that as a real step forward for us. That our efforts in that vein have been significant, and we're seeing results with that. One of the major things that we've struggled with is finances. Right, so at this time of the year, each of the past 4 years or 5 years, since before I got here, we start the budget process, and we kind of think, what would it take to fund, what we have now, next year? What are our estimates for that? What are our estimates for revenues? And we've always had a budget gap. That budget gap in each of those last 5 years has been about $10 million. You've probably seen in the news or heard me talk about in other venues, Schenectady gets only 55% of the state aid that the law says we're supposed to get. School districts that are, that serve a majority of minority students are 10 times as likely to be significantly short of their state aid, getting less than 70% of their state aid, than school districts that serve predominantly white students. And so we filed a civil rights complaint against the state with that. It was the first time that the Office of Civil Rights had ever received such a complaint, from an entity like a school district against another public entity like a state. And it took them 12 months, but eventually they did decide to open up an investigation against the Board of Regents and the State Education Department. It's the first time ever that such an investigation by the Office of Civil Rights has been opened. So we're breaking new ground with that and putting, I think, some pretty significant pressure on the state to begin creating some equity in how it is that they're funding school districts. Just to give you a sense of what that means, 55% of our funding. That means we have a school budget, annual budget of about $160 million. The state shorts us over $60 million every year. Right? The law says that they're supposed to give us $60 million more every year than what they give us. Right? That's a huge number. Now, not every district in the state gets 100% of what they're supposed to get. The median district, right in the middle, that district gets 82% of what they're supposed to get. So if we got 82% of what we were supposed to get, it would mean over $30 million additional aid for us, which would mean we would be able to enhance our programming for kids significantly. We would be able to address mental health issues that our youngest kids come to us with because they're living in such intense poverty and exposed to such violence in their environment and things like that. We would be able to address the academic issues that kids are having in those intermediate grades, really help them catch up. we would be able to provide some mentoring and internship experiences for kids at the high school to help get them re-engaged in high school and persist to graduate. And at the same time that we would be doing those 3 significant enhancements, we would be able to lower property taxes by 1/3.
Yeah.
Right? Just by funding us at the median level, we would be able to dramatically enhance services to kids and lower property.